Yeah, okay, we're not watching that whole thing. But anyway, my goal here in this video is actually giving you my initial reactions to the reveal, as well as to get you a what's the most important information you actually want to know from this thing. I think the most important things that you guys want to know is what cards were actually revealed, what is their performance, what is their price, and when is it going to release. And I don't want to make this an overly long video. I just want to get you the information you want quickly, and then we can do follow-up videos where we dive into more depth on a lot of these topics. So the number one thing is that there were 3 cards revealed. We had the 6800 XT, the 6800, and there was a 6900 XT. So this lines up perfectly with the leaks I've been reporting on, so I wasn't surprised by any of that. Now, performance-wise, I'm again not surprised by what we saw. Basically, the 3080 is competitive with the 6800 XT. That's what we saw, and if I remember right on my recording right here at 1140, let me jump over there, we start seeing their numbers competitive, so I'll let that play here behind me while we talk about it. So what you're seeing here is the 4K gaming. We got some different games, and this is their performance at ultra settings, but now I believe they're going to stack it up versus the competition, versus the 3080. Notice the power supply, and I'll get out of you guys' way here. Notice the power draw here. It's doing it at 300 watts versus 320, so I was happy to see that. And as you can see here, it's not one card blowing the other one out of the water. They are lining up fairly evenly, and that is at 4K ultra settings. So we are seeing a trading of blows with the 3080 in these selected titles, which obviously take with a grain of salt, being released by NVIDIA. Let me give you guys a shot here. So this is now the 1440p performance, and I could, again, duck out of your way for a second. Microphone, chair, Okay, realistically, I could have just, made myself disappear. But I thought that'd be more fun. Anyway, so what do we see out of this? I see that for 1440p, it is, again, as I was reporting in the leaks, I believe that their advantage over the 3080 is greater at 1440p than it was at 4K, but in both cases, it is pretty close. Now, I do like seeing this happen at a lower power draw, which is very good to see. All right, now, later on, we have a reveal of the 6800, and this is talking about the rage mode. So why don't we jump into there? So we're talking about the 6800 XT, and then now they're giving it paired up with, what if you pair it up with rage mode? So rage mode for me was the big surprise from this reveal. The rage mode, I didn't know was leaked. Was it leaked, guys? Did I just miss these leaks? I've been looking for leaks on this stuff, and I didn't see anything about rage mode. So rage mode is apparently, you have to have a 5000 series Ryzen processor on a X500 or whatever it is board. So you can't do the 400 series motherboards. It has to be the 500 series motherboards for this feature to work. But if you have the 500 series motherboards, a 5000 series processor, and a 6000 series AMD GPU. So they're encouraging you to go full-on Team Red here. If you do that, apparently they can share memory more effectively in this rage mode, which you enable in the BIOS of the motherboard. And as long as you have all of these compatible parts, you just turn it on, and it just gives you better performance. And they made a big deal out of the fact that this is the performance gains that they saw right now with games that weren't designed with this in mind. And they're claiming that as games are designed with this in mind, we could see an even greater gain in performance. Now, none of this is mind-blowing. We're seeing mostly single-digit boosts in performance. But if it's literally free performance for somebody who is already going to have a 5000 series Ryzen, which why would you not if you're building a new computer right now? Like, AMD is just destroying Intel in that regard. Have you seen their single-threaded performance is finally crushing Intel? Yeah, if you're building a new computer right now, you go Ryzen 5000 series for sure. And then this feature is a nice selling point on also getting the 6000 series AMD card. So yeah, this is just extra free performance. And so this might help them against NVIDIA's proprietary features like DLSS and ray tracing, where they probably still have the advantage over AMD. So yeah, this is cool, and I wasn't expecting it. Maybe I just missed the leaks on this, but good job, AMD. They're leveraging the fact that they manufacture CPUs and GPUs, and they are leveraging that now together in a very smart way to make it more compelling option to go full team red. Nice job, AMD. I'd really like to see independent tests of this, though, to see if it actually does anything. They claim it does, but, you know, this is their marketing campaign. All right. So what else did I want to make sure you guys saw? So they talked about their latency reduction and that in certain games it can give you good boost in performance as far as the latency goes, which matters a lot more in like competitive titles. And NVIDIA's been doing that now as well. And if I remember correctly, AMD started this kind of thing in the past, and NVIDIA was actually sort of copying the latency reduction from AMD. If I'm wrong about that, you let me know in the comment section, but that's how I remember this all happening. Anyway, but the point is that they still have that. So they apparently have a package of DirectX 12, AMD's Fidelity FX stuff that is apparently being implemented by some games to boost the visual quality at a reduction in performance cost. And I'd like to see more about this. It sounds cool, but I really don't feel like this told me enough about it to actually give you an opinion on, is it great? I don't know. Anyway, so then they went into a bit of, developers talking about it. And then we got, again, into pricing, which I've already told you about. We've got the 6800 XT coming in at the $649, and none of these specs are shocking. The clock speeds are a little bit different than we had seen, but this is now the 6800. So the 6800 versus the 6800 XT, the biggest thing that I like to see, as those of you who've been following my channel know, I don't have that big of a power supply in my current rig. 250 watts. That is a lot better than the 3080 running at 320. So I am very happy to see that AMD is being more power efficient here at delivering this kind of performance compared to NVIDIA. Because again, while NVIDIA has their advantages, it's nice to see that AMD is really pushing certain advantages that they have. So the power draw being one of them. And also, again, they're coming in with these 16 gigabytes of memory that we're happy to see compared to the lower memory amounts on the NVIDIA's 30 series. So here's your 6800 performance, and this time I really will just get out of your way here for a second. Boom. All right, so as we can see, we've got the 4K 60 frames per second goal is achieved in all the titles that they are displaying here. Of course, they probably wouldn't choose to show you titles where they can't reach 4K 60. But this is versus a 2080 Ti. And notice that versus a 2080 Ti, the 2080 Ti, as we found out yesterday in the 3070 launch, which I did a little review roundup on, we saw that the 2080 Ti is basically a 3070 in levels of performance. So I would read this chart as, how does the 6800 compete with the 3070? Because that's their actual competitor. And luckily for us, the 2080 Ti basically performs within single-digit percentage ranges of a 3070. And we can tell that some of these leads seem to be clearly more than single-digit percentage leads, and I believe that they claimed that it's 18% better than a 2080 Ti on average in the games that they're showing here. Now again, they're probably selecting games that are giving them good results, but these are major games that people review and run benchmarks on and things anyway. So it's not like this is terrible. And so they're claiming this is an 18% over the 2080 Ti, which means it's an 18% advantage over the 3070. However, the cost comes in at $579. And that was the main disappointment I got from the 6800. $579 versus the theoretically $499 3070. Now, I'm going to bust out a handy dandy calculator. I'm actually a math teacher full-time, guys. Let's do some math here. So 579, oops, that's an extra 9. So divided by 499 gives us a percentage, and that is a 16% increase in price. Okay, so in other words, the 6800 costs 16% more than a 3070. And why is that relevant? Well, 16% more than a 3070 for 18% more performance, roughly, means that considering all of those things, the performance within 1 or 2% is probably a wash depending on the games you test, and this is versus a 2080 Ti, not a 3070, which again could have a 1 or 2% difference compared to a 2080 Ti. What I'd say is this is basically the same price per performance as a 3070. Hi, I'm back, guys. Anyway, so yeah, that's what I'm saying, is that this is basically giving you more performance than a 3070, but at a higher price, and again, at about a 16% markup on price compared to about an 18% gain in performance, means that you're at roughly equivalent performance per dollar. And the 3070 reviews that we just got yesterday showed us that the 3070 is the price performance leader as far as like dollars per frame per second. And this will now probably tie that now at a higher price, but with better performance. Now, for me, this actually is extremely compelling because I game at 3440 by 1440p, so it's less. So that's ultra wide resolution. So for me, that's less than running 4K, but more than running 1440p. And for me, a 3080 level of performance or a 6800 XT performance might be a little higher than I really need, but I didn't really want the 3070 because of the 8 gigabytes of VRAM, and it just seemed slightly underpowered for what I needed. My other issue with the with like a 3080 would be the power draw. So what I'm looking at this with the 6800 is this comes in at 250 watts. So for 250 watts, so it's not crazy power consumption. You're getting very, very good performance, and you're paying a bit more than for a 3070. So maybe this is like your 3070 Ti type of thing. So you're splitting the difference between a 3070 and a 3080, but you're also splitting the price difference, although it is a $79 increase in price rather than like a $100 increase in price. Anyway, this is currently where I might go for my personal rig, just for your guys' information on my thoughts on all of this. But that depends on my specific resolution I'm trying to run. Okay, this video's getting a little bit long. I wanted this to be a super quick, informative video for you guys. And yeah, so the main thing here is, yeah, when will this actually be available? Oh, we did get the 6900. I should probably actually show you guys the 6900, right? So 6900 had some cool stuff in it, right? So this is our 80 compute unit version that we saw, and the 300 watt total board power is nice to see because that is less than a 3080 or a 3090. So it is nice to, again, see them coming in at a better performance per watt than NVIDIA seems to. And that's what they're advertising here, is an even better performance per watt, specifically on the 6900. And I think that's because they're just binning these. They're basically 6800 XTs that have been binned to the Silicon Lottery winners. But anyway, let's look at the performance they've got here. And once again, I'll duck out of your way. Okay, so here, notice that they are pairing this up versus the 3090. So we got the 6900 XT versus the 3090, and notice that it trades blows. We've got some wins. Let me get my mouse pointer out of your way and all that. But the idea is we've got some wins, we've got some losses, but it is competitive with a 3090 at a lower power draw and a lower price. Sorry, it comes in at $999. So it's not a low price, but it is a lower price. Okay, so I will pop back in here. I think you guys got your view of the charts. So yeah, it's coming in at $999. This is not a cheap card, but it is lower than a 3090. It is competitive with it in terms of performance and does it at a lower power draw, which is, again, nice to see. And yeah, so that is pretty much what we got out of the video. And I could remind you guys again about the release dates right here. So the release dates, once again, I can get there, guys. You know what? We're just going to actually play the video for a second. So the release dates, again, for their 5000 series is the 5th of November. The 6800, so that's your 6800 XT and your 6800, will be on November 18th. And we do have the 6900 XT coming on December 8th. Now, this brings me to what did this video not show me that I was hoping to see? I was hoping to see some sort of claim that they are going to have availability that NVIDIA didn't. That's a huge issue for NVIDIA right now. And I mean, if I was AMD, I would have loved to just punch NVIDIA in the gut and just say, like, we have tons of these available. We have massive stock. You're going to be able to get one. I would have loved for them to be able to say that. Now, the fact that they didn't makes me a little nervous about stock, but maybe it shouldn't be. Maybe it's just not something that they wanted to address in this video. And I do expect them to have more stock available than NVIDIA did at launch, but I still think demand's going to be so high right now that there's going to be a very quick sellout of these cards at launch. So you would need to get right in there and compete. So yeah, so there were definitely other details in this video, and feel free to watch the entire thing yourself, look at other YouTubers' reactions, look up articles, all of that, and I'm sure I will have some follow-up thoughts on this in videos in the coming days, but I wanted to get you guys the most important information: release dates, price, and performance. And that all looks pretty good to me, but I really wanted to see a more aggressive price point. If the 6800 had come in at $500, so it's just like it beats the 3070 and it's the same price, that would have been absolutely killer and would have just destroyed the 3070 option. But instead, they're pricing it $79 higher, so it's gonna split the difference. So some people still have a reason to get a 3070 just for price purposes. And then the 6800 XT, again, it would have been awesome if that came in at like $599. It's going to be really hard to argue for buying the 3080. But now at $649, it's still easier to make the argument. And again, I think one reason that they might do this is that they have the the demand's so high right now that I think they're going to sell these out regardless of their price, to be honest. So maybe they're just not too worried about that right now. And I do understand that from their perspective. So my overall takeaways were I'm very happy with the performance. I love that they're doing it at lower power draw than NVIDIA. I like that they're beating NVIDIA's pricing, but I would have liked to see them beat it by more. And man, I'm really tempted by rage mode to just like, I've been tempted to go Ryzen 5000 series anyway, but like now there's kind of even more reason, guys. Yeah, so I didn't cover every little possible detail. Let me guys know in the comments your thoughts on all of this. Have you been convinced now? Are you going Team Red this time around? Are you going to build a whole new PC for that rage mode advantage? I mean, plus just like 5000 series awesome, right? Okay, hope you guys have an excellent day. I'll talk to you guys later.